Chelsea fans, I do not want to preview this game whatsoever because Chelsea are back in action tomorrow against Everton, 5:30 kickoff at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. Our first attempt at trying to resolve and salvage something from this season after what was an embarrassing 8-2 aggregate defeat to PSG in the Champions League. We didn't even crash out the Champions League. We were massacred out the Champions League by PSG over the two legs. And this is where Liam Rosenior has to get this miserable, deflated, low of confidence team. He has to get a tune out of them and get them to play some sort of football against Everton. Now, my worry with all of this is we have a lot of key injuries that we now know about in terms of Trevoh Chalobah, who was injured in the PSG game. It looks like he's going to be out for some weeks. We're hearing 6 weeks potentially for Reece James as well, something with his hamstring. Malo Gusto is a massive doubt for this game. Look, we've got injuries galore, but what makes it even worse on top of that is Enzo Fernandez, £100 million player, our club captain, is coming out and saying he wants out of the club as well. And I'm going to be honest, I don't blame Enzo Fernandez whatsoever for wanting to get away from what is currently Circus FC. This is no longer Chelsea Football Club. This is not CFC, Chelsea Football Club. This is no longer CFC London. We are now Clown FC. We are Memes FC. Memes are flying around left, right and centre around the football club. And we've become the new Arsenal, which is embarrassing. But this is where Liam Rosenior, regardless of the broken squad, the mentality and the morale of this football club, this is where he now has to start earning his pound coins, because he's going to have to make sure that whatever he does against Everton, it is nothing but a win that we are walking away from Liverpool with. Because if we go back down from the M6 Merseyside and we don't get 3 points, a lot of questions are going to start being asked around his position at the football club. Is he good enough? I personally don't think he is. I said it in the week. I said it after the PSG game. I think he's out of his depth. I think he's absolutely out of his depths. I think he's taken the job on too early. I think there's no idea from him. There's no tactical shift in terms of if we go 1-0 down or if we're chasing a goal. There's nothing from him at all. And substitutions are not making any sense. The press conference yesterday, there was a slight bit of pressure you could see being applied to him, and he doesn't look like he can handle it. Now, this is what I think will happen tomorrow. I generally think Everton will either set up 4-4-1-1. They could set up with the 4-2-3-1. They could set up 4-4-2. I think what Everton are going to look out for tomorrow and try and get us to stifle the way that we try and transition the ball. They will gladly, Everton, let us have that football tomorrow and make 400 passes sideways to the other side, back to the goalkeeper, back down to the defenders, back to the side, to the fullback, back to the goalkeeper. They will gladly let us pass 104 to 400 passes. They don't want us to score goals, and they will gladly sit back. Now, this is where Everton are very good, and this is why David Moyes has got Everton where they are in the league and why they're trying to chase European football for next season. Because what will happen is, and this will happen, I can guarantee you this will happen in the match at some point, more than one occasion, we are going to lose possession of the football. Now, when we lose possession of the football under Liam Rosenior, and this is why Enzo Maresca, as much as some fans didn't like the way he played his football at Chelsea, this is why it worked, because what will happen tomorrow is we will lose possession of the ball, potentially while we're trying to transition it and advance it into our attacking areas. If we lose possession of the ball, the likes of Njai, the likes of Dwight McNeil, the likes of James Garner, Keenan Dewsbury-Hall, Tino Barry, or Beto, whoever's up front, they are going to quickly counter-press us. And our high line that we got to see against Arsenal, that we got to see against PSG twice on the bounce, the fact that we got to see that against Newcastle as well, that high line that we play and we do not do it very, very well will come back to haunt us if we allow the likes of Njai with the pace that he's got, Keenan Dewsbury-Hall with the form that he's in for Everton, if we allow any of those players the opportunity to counter-press us, we are going to be in absolute mess come 7 p.m. on the night, because we will lose the game. And I tell you, if we lose the game, I'm going to try not to get in the car and drive off. I'm going to try and watch the full game tomorrow. But if we lose it, there can be no more questions around Liam Rosenior. There can be no more questions around Liam Rosenior. He has to get something out of this game, because Everton will get chances. And if they do get that first goal, if they do score the first goal, they are not going to then try and press for another goal. They will park the bus like they've never parked the bus before. They will park the bus and allow us to try and play through them. And if you've been watching Chelsea for the last year and a half, you'll know that is an impossible situation for Chelsea to be in, because we can't get the ball into the box. Now, another thing I think Everton will do is, I think Everton, physicality is their thing. It's their speciality. Now, we know that I think Tarkowski's injured, but they do have O'Brien. They do have Garner Gay in the middle of the pitch as well for them. They do have some physicality. And that's one thing we will be lacking, because, again, no Trevoh Chalobah, no Reece James, no Malo Gusto. It's a game where you're probably going to have to, unfortunately, trust the likes of Tosin or Badiashile. We're going to have to transition that ball out from Sanchez to Mamadou Sarr, Badiashile, if it's him or Tosin. We're going to have to use Josh Achiempong. Now, Josh Achiempong, we were told, was going to be in this team. He was going to get pathway into the first team. We've hardly seen Josh. Josh should have been on the pitch midweek. He should have been on the pitch midweek against PSG on Tuesday, but he wasn't. He has to start this game. He has to. You haven't even got the opportunity. We got to see Mamadou Sarr right back against PSG. He never worked. I do not want to see Moises Caicedo as a right back in this game. I do not. Because one thing that I will be honest with you as well, I don't think Everton are actually that good with the ball anyway. So I don't think you need to shoehorn a defensive midfielder into the... Just play Josh Achiempong. Just trust Josh Achiempong can do the job that you need him to do in this game, and things will come to light. That's all. It can't even be that difficult. Now, I think in terms of the lineup, because it will be a difficult game, but in terms of my lineup, I'm going to go with the following. Now, I'm going to go with Robert Sanchez in goal, because I think Robert Sanchez, for me, is a player that will... I mean, look, we haven't really got an option. It's Sanchez or no one in goal. Jurgensen is injured, so it has to be Robert Sanchez in goal. Now, I'm going to go with Josh Achiempong. I think Josh, for me, has to be crucial in this game. Look, he's going to have to advance forward with the ball. He's going to have to make sure he tracks back. But one thing I think he's also going to have to definitely do, and is going to be crucial, is he's going to have to shift over and support, because we know Tosin isn't the best defensively, but he's going to have to come in and he's going to have to double up with Njai, see him on the outside, play him down this line, the byline down here. He cannot afford to let Njai come in and cut in and leave a space here for him to cut in through here. Because if it is Beto or if it is Barry who's going to be in the attacking role for Everton, then we have to make sure that defensively we are tight and compact. Because that ball is going to be coming out from the back. The press may be on from McNeil, from Njai, Beto, but we have to make sure that these two here... Now, I've gone with Tosin and Joel Heto in the middle of the defensive line, which I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest. I'm nervous about. I'm nervous about doing that, but I don't think we have a choice. We don't have a choice. That has to be the two. It cannot be Badiashile. It cannot be Badiashile. It just can't be. So I think Joel Heto, left centre-back, with Tosin as the right centre-back. Now, I've gone with Marco Correa, who I think will, again, keep his place in the team. Look, we have to get 3 points here. Other option would be to put Badiashile in the team or Mamadou Sarr, but I think at the back of the game, as I've just mentioned, I think this is going to be a physical game with Gay in the team, O'Brien, Michael Keane as well, James Garner, who's been playing right back for Everton. I think you need to have someone who's going to be stronger. We got to see Mamadou Sarr against Kvaratskhelia in the week. He just wasn't strong enough, and that wasn't just for the goal. That was for multiple different opportunities that PSG ping down that left-hand side. So I'm going to go with Marco Correa, Joao Heto, who has actually played really well for us. And I think we forget that he can play left centre-back. He isn't just predominantly a left-back. He can play there. Now, the question I will probably bring up here is inexperience, because I think you look at the two here, you don't trust Tosin, and again, I'm talking about strength, physicality. Hato doesn't strike me as one of those, but out of the two, Mamadou Sarr and Heto, I'd have to go with Heto in that situation. Now, the two in midfield, I think we need to bring it back to what we know, and that has to be Enzo and Caicedo. Now, obviously, Enzo Fernandez has been playing in the 10 for the last couple of games, and I'll be honest, it hasn't been a thing that hasn't wowed me, but it also hasn't raised any eyebrows for me. But I just think again, I'm thinking about the two in the midfield for Everton, and obviously Dewsbury Hall, who will drop into that midfield and play in between the lines if he can and try and break up the play. I think Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo, we're going to need both of these. Now, crucial to talk about Caicedo, because if he picks up a booking in this game, he is liable for a lengthy ban for the accumulation of yellow cards he's picked up this season. So it's very, very, very crucial we do not allow Moises Caicedo at any point in this game to have to put a foot in that is a tackle that he has to make because we're not playing well. We just can't afford for Moises Caicedo not to be in our team for the upcoming fixtures. Now, I've gone with... Look, I want to see Esteval. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, he's coming back from an injury. He's only just come back into training. But I think we have to risk him in this game. I really do. I think we have to risk him in this game because, look, Garnacho has shown us moments in games where he looks very good, but I can never, and I still won't, get that West Ham game out my head. Yes, he's scored goals since then. Yes, he's created some assists. Yes, he's looked very good in moments. But I think, for me, Neto, the engine that we know Neto's got, not Eto. Neto, I wish we had Eto. But Neto, I think, will drive forward, but we also know he can do that defensive role and trap back if McNeil is coming up the pitch as well, or Garner, or whoever's going to be filling in the space behind the right back. If it's Garner and McNeil overlapping, we know that there's going to be moments where Neto can do that defensive role as well for us. So I think I would go with Neto. I want to see Esteval back in this team because I think, again, we're going to have to try and unlock Mykolenko, who I think, for me personally, is Everton's weakest link in this team. I think if you can exploit Mykolenko, who I do not think is a very good left back. Now, yes, you could probably put Garnacho there, but I think give Esteval the 60 minutes that he probably needs. Let him run at Mykolenko, bring him up if we're winning 2-0, 1-0, bring him off, and then you maybe switch Neto to the right, maybe put Garnacho on the left, or you just throw Garnacho like for Esteval. But I want to see Cole. I want to see Cole Palmer in this game. I think he has to affect it. I think he has to affect it with every ounce of fibre in his body. He has to do something for us because there's a lot of question marks about Cole Palmer, and the lack of quality that he's possessing and giving us at the moment is alarming. If you're a Chelsea fan, you're looking at Palmer and you're not really getting the game time, the key big moments where he's changing the game, where you think, give it to Cole, he can do something. We're not seeing that. We're not seeing that. And he's going to come up against some really difficult play in the midfield, as I said, with the two in the midfield here. But he's also going to come up against O'Brien and Keane, who are actually very good and have been very defensively good this season for Everton. So Cole Palmer, I think, is going to have to be crucial, but I want to see him in the 10. I want to see him in the 10. I want to see what he can do in that 10. He's been playing off the right for a couple of games as well. We know that Maresca liked him and preferred him as the 10 as opposed to being on the right. I think he needs to be back in the 10. Maybe you can switch it over and you put Esteval in the 10 and you can put Cole Palmer there. And again, this is why I think I would play Esteval, because you can switch things up during the game. And if I was Liam Rosenior with this front four, João Pedro, Palmer, Esteval and Neto, I think you've got yourself the luxury of being able to swap things around. You could even put Palmer on the left here, Neto on there, and then Esteval here if you really needed to. Look, I mean, the key thing I think in this moments for me is that we have to make sure that we get the first goal. We have to get the first goal. If we don't, and they're able to break down our defensive line very quickly and very easily, which they can do, Everton will sit back. They don't need to go and chase us for another goal. We are not clinical in front of goal as it is. Now, of course, João Pedro has been brilliant this season, but we have to create the chances in order for him to score the goals. And if we're not doing that, if Esteval, Cole Palmer, Pedro Neto, or if it is Garnacho are not doing that, then we're gonna come unstuck and we'll just be shooting for shooting's sake. And I think that's where, for me, I look at the bench and the lack of quality that can come off that bench and impact the game for us. So I'm not confident. I am not confident at all with this game. I'm worried that we might lose the game and it will considerably cost us more points in the league. You're talking about Champions League potential places. We're relying on Aston Villa to win the Europa League to try and get a 5th Champions League spot for next season. There's a lot riding on the next couple of games now that we've got in the rest of this season. So we have to start with this game here. And if we don't win, the shortlist needs to be drawn up. I'm sorry. If we don't win this game, the shortlist of upcoming next potential managers has to be drawn up by these sporting directors, who I do not trust to get it right. But look, I'm going to end it in the same way that I'm going to probably end a lot of videos at the next couple of months or so, but it's always going to be Blue Co out. Blue Co out. Let's not forget the bigger message amongst all this match preview is always going to be Blue Co out, because they haven't done what they set out to do. The 30th of May 2022, they told us and gave us the dream, and the dream turned into a nightmare very quickly. So it's always Blue Co out. Don't forget that message. It's always going to be get these clowns out of the club. Get them away from our club. They're destroying it on a regular basis. We need to get rid of them. But we also have to back the badge, the club, in terms of what we grew up on, the heritage, the good times. We need to back that. But we also need to get them clowns out of the club. In terms of predictions, I actually think it's going to be a draw. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I think Everton will score. I think we'll struggle to break them down. We might get a lucky goal, but I can't see it being a massive scoreline in this one. So I'm going to go 1-1, which will not be good enough for us in terms of what we need from the game. But look, I just want to see some good football. I just want to see some good football. I want to see some football that is promising, and then we can take that into the next game and build on it and carry on building for the next eight or 7 games we'll have at that point. And then obviously we have the FA Cup against Port Vale coming up, but we have to see something different from this team. Weakened defensive line, Sanchez not comfortable playing out from the back, long ball it. Let's not do all this short passing nonsense. Let's get the ball and transition it quickly up the field. Subscribe if you like the video. Let me know your thoughts. Predictions all below as well. We'll be back after the game again with a match review as well. Make sure you tune in, hit your notifications, and we'll be back soon.